So let's do a ship building and ship refitting demo for Ascendancy. I have a planet all picked out. And here we go. We go to the planet. We have a shipyard in orbit. We have an open orbital slot. And our species has the capability of building new ships for its fleet. So we select the ship inside the menu, tap to build the ship, and are taken to the shipbuilding screen. In the beginning of the game, you have only the ability to build small or medium ships, and you just tap the image of the ship in the docking bay to cycle through the various sizes. Because this is an advanced game, you will see that the menus are more filled out and have a lot more objects to choose from. But don't worry, in the beginning of the game, you would only have just the very basics discovered by the time you're able to build your first ship. So it makes it simpler to get up to speed. And don't forget that there is the help system, which we'll go into in another demo video, but briefly, anytime you touch the question mark in the upper right, it tells you what all of the buttons do, and you can press a left arrow for tip text for that screen, which you won't need because you're reading this, you're watching this demo. Every ship does need to have at least one generator and one drive attached, and with touch help activated, you can open up the menus and see what they do. Now, with help activated, I can touch any of these objects and pull up a screen that gives me information about what they do and why I might want to use them. Deactivate help and select the object to put it on your ship. So again, you pick the object, green light it, tap it on your ship, and there you're off to go. And even without help activated, if you have an object selected that you want to learn some information about, for example, this smart bomb, which you would only discover much later on in games, you tap it down here in the selection bay, and it will also give you that same information about what the item does and why you might want to use it. But in this case, let's continue to build as if we're in the beginning of a game building our very first ship. So we've installed a single generator, a single drive. We do not have to have scanners, shields, or weapons. And on a small ship, we have to decide, is that ship going to help me colonize other planets, or is it just an exploration ship, or is it a mini fighter? In most games, you're going to really need to pay attention to colonizing early on. And so you do have to, of all these specialty gizmos, when you first start the game, this menu is nearly empty. And I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but one of the great things about Ascendancy is that you have an enormous variety of these specialty gizmos that you learn how to invent in the game. And later on, when you're building large ships, they really come into play and completely change the tactics and strategies you can use when getting ready for all-out fleet-based combat, which we'll show off in another demo. But early on in the game, you do have to at least have a Starlane drive, because otherwise you would not be able to get out of your own system. And the only way to build your fleet up beyond just a few starter ships is to colonize other systems than the one you start in. So we're going to turn this into nothing but a colonizer ship. It has no shields, no sensors, and no weapons, but it has the ability to fly out of the starting system and plant a colony on a planet. And that would be what an early colonizer would look like. So we built that by hand. Now let's just quickly show you what it looks like when you do it fast. So we pick one of each of these. No weapons, no shields. And again, this menu in the beginning of the game is much smaller. You wouldn't have to go wading through to find your colonizer, and there you have it. The other way to do it even more quickly, once you know what's going on a little bit, or just say you don't even want to bother with ship design and shipbuilding and customizing your own ships, simply press the Ship Design Library button down here in the lower left. And since in the early stages of the game you wouldn't be able to build larger, enormous ships, you just scroll down to medium and small. Let's say we want to start out with a medium invader, or no, let's do a medium colonizer. We'll just select that, load it up, and there's a medium colonizer. And if we want to, we could add a weapon, so the ship is a little bit able to defend itself. We don't have a shield, and again, every time you add an one item, that's a slot you're using up. So now we've just taken away 2 of our colonizer units, and that's 2 fewer planets that we can colonize with this ship. So you can do some customization, but you want to be careful with that. And the other nice thing about the ship design library is that if you do find a custom colonizer you want to build and it's not the same one as the pre-entered template, simply press the save button, and those are some of the other ones I've saved. Touch to save, and I'm just going to call it, instead of just a medium colonizer, because it has a weapon on it, I'm going to call it M for medium, F for fighter, and C for colonizer. So this is an MFC class ship. We've seen lots of fans do things like, instead of calling it MFC, they might call it a colonizer, or they might have a completely fictional name they want to come up with, like gunship, although this is a colonizer. So we're just going to say MFC for the class and save that. And then if we do want to use that as the ship we're building right now, we just exit, name the ship. We could leave it at MFC, or we could call it the MFC Yorktown, just for kicks. And it says our species has built all the ships its domain can support, but you see that 12 days and the ship will be done. So that is ship building. And very quickly, refitting is almost identical to building. Let's just go to a system that has a ship in it already. And you have to take your ship into orbit, and in order to refit it, that planet has to have not a shipyard, but an orbital docks. The orbital docks allows refitting. If you already have your ship built, you can take it to any planet that has the docks and an open orbital slot. Your ship goes into orbit, and again, you can see the icon is self-explanatory. If you need help, it'll tell you that's the refit ship button, but it shows a mini refitting station, a mini docks right there. So you tap that, and it takes you into the same shipbuilding screen. Now in this case, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but you can see that this ship is loaded up with a lot of very advanced gizmos. But just say we decided that our fleet had enough powerful ships in it, but not enough invaders. And so this ship needs a refit because we need to start invading an enemy that's been bothering us. So we open up the ship design library, choose enormous invader, and bam, our ship is completely refit automatically. Now, perhaps, again, we want to customize just a little bit. We can do that to our heart's content. It's a very flexible system, so we've added a couple of weapons. Maybe we don't need the shield or the sensor, but let's just leave them on there. And we accept the refit order, and now the ship is going to be completed in 5 days. So that is ship building and ship refitting. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at our email, contact@logicfactory.com. And thanks very much for your interest in Ascendancy and being a fan.